Hi, 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 everyone. Come on, join us, join us, join us. Join us, join us, join us. To prepare for this paper. This this is a preparation for the May exam. We are doing it's human and social biology. To make sure and be part of it. All right, I hope. Well, hi, hi, hi. I hope everyone is hearing me well. Everyone is here to get that one. That's what we are here for. So we are here to get the one. So make sure you join. Let me know if you all are hearing me. Put one in the chat if you are hearing me. Let me see those ones. If you are hearing me, let me see those ones. We're just giving person a couple minutes to get to join up with us. But otherwise, we are getting started. Right. Means everyone is hearing me. I'm seeing the ones rolling in. All right. So let's get started. We want to use this session as a prep session. This is intended to build your confidence going into the human and social biology exam. So let me introduce myself. I am everyone's favorite principal, Mr. Roach. I do these sessions just as added means to encourage students wherever you are in various territories throughout the Caribbean. I know how excited, how worried, how concerned, how much pressure you feel during the exams, and they have already started. If today is Tuesday, May 6th, that means yesterday was English, today was some more exams, and human and social biology is right around the corner in a couple of days. So we're using this session to help everyone get that one. And I did have a query. In terms of which paper to do, which paper to use tonight to think. So I do want us to ask that which paper should we use? Uh, I was thinking to use between the June 2024 or the January 2025. Somebody tell me which paper to use. The first person responds with their comments, I will do that paper. The first person tells me which paper to use, I will do that paper. So let me know which paper to use. First tell which paper. So I'm seeing persons saying June 2025. All right. I can't use the June 2025. You all have to, you mean to say Jan 2025. All right. So I'm rolling with that. So we are going to do the January 2025. I think the first person that said it was Kelly. All right, Kelly, I see 2025 for Kelly. I see some person saying June. Ooh. Right, so I'm going with the 2025, which is the. But now I've seen everybody switching their answer to June, boy. Oh, somebody came in before Kelly. There's Dominique. Dominique. All right, Dominique. You're the person who we taking as the final answer. You said June 2024. All right. I'm using the June 2024 paper. No more changes after that. And you know, this is how the paper will start off. After you have put in your credentials, you know, you put in your candidate number, you put in the necessary information to make sure that when CXC is marking the paper, the marks go to you. You put in your candidate number, you put in your thing. This is the front page of the exam, all right? This is the front page of the exam that you will be seeing. So it tells you, you have 2 hours to complete this paper. This is paper 2, which is coming up on Thursday. You have 6 questions in 2 sections. 6 questions in 2 sections. Hi, Serena. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. And you have to do all the questions. And they put that all in capital letters for you so that you don't miss it. Yeah? They give you some other instruction. And by the way, just so that you all know, there are calculators required for these exams, right? I know one of my students said, "Sir, do I need a calculator for this exam?" Well, it was actually bio they were asking about. And I was like, yes, you need a calculator. And the list, there is a full list of the exams that you need a calculator for. So make sure you're in your rush for the exams, you have all your writing utensils, and some exams, depending what subject it is, maths, obviously, you add maths, POA, economics, biology, the sciences, they need calculators as well. So let's get into this paper 2. And if you are new to Early to CXC, we help prepare students for exams at any age. Yeah, our earliest child doing exams is something at 12 years old, and that's okay. So you could do exams at any age. There is no age requirement with respect to doing exams. So do remember to like the video and subscribe so that next time, when tomorrow at about the same time when we're doing another live session, you will be notified if you click that notification bell. So let's get into it. So this is question 1 of the paper 2 for June 2024. And I am going to watch the chatter. So if persons have a pressing question, do ask. But I also want to let you know tomorrow we are doing a crash course for YouTube subscribers. So check out the link in the description and click it, fill it out, and join our crash course. It's free, so you could join, and we have a whole other set of events, and more will come on as we get further into exams. So do join for the crash course for human and social biology for tomorrow. We will do about 4 hours. Right? It will be from around 12 noon AST to about 4 p.m. So we'll do that crash course. It's free. You could join as you want. Yeah, we do want to support our YouTube subscribers. So we're doing that crash course just for you. All right. So question 1 from section A. They're asking us, Justin is an amateur boxer. I wonder how come Justin get into boxing. His trainer advises him that in order to increase his energy levels, he should consume a diet that contains more complex carbohydrates, such as sweet potato and cassava, which are rich in starch. That's true. Name the test that Justin could use to determine the presence of starch in his diet and state the color of the precipitate formed if starch is present. So basically, they're asking you straight up about a food test. And someone is already saying, seeing a couple persons saying it's a starch test. Yes, yes, yes. And we know it involves, or you are correct. The other person who says the iodine test, you could say starch test, you could say the iodine test, you could say starch iodine test. You will still get the marks, right? And many of you are already given the answer as blue-black. Yeah, blue-black is the answer. I wonder if I need to do writing. You all seem very much prepared for these exams, so I don't need to do any writing. So, all right, but I will still do some writing. Let me write and put it in. All right, starch test, blue-black is what we're rolling with. All right. So identify two foods that are rich in starch other than sweet potato and considering this is the Caribbean, there are so many foods to choose from. I will not be able to tell you to answer every single one, but because they are obviously foods I don't know. But nothing is wrong with going with the obvious answers. The obvious answers, because, and here's why I'm telling you this. Here's why. As a principal doing HSB for many years, don't expect every examiner to know every single thing. So pick the obvious answers. Pick things like Edos and Irish potato. Pick the obvious answers, because you don't know where the person who's correcting your paper is from. There are examiners from Guyana, from all over the Caribbean. You don't know where that person is from. So if you say something that person is not familiar with, then what they will do? Do you think they're going to look it up? No. They are obviously going to just give you it wrong. So pick the obvious answers. Yeah? Somebody said yams, right? You can't use over sweet potato. They said other than sweet potato and cassava. You want to say yams, that's fine. You want to say green fig, banana, green bananas, yes, all those things you will get the marks for. Yeah? Wonderful. So that's 4 easy marks. I don't think anyone has problems with the start of this. So state which two of the following foods Justin should consume for growth and repair of his muscle tissues: chicken, plantain, tomato, lentil, peas. What are we selecting? We have to select 2, 1 mark for each. So considering that growth and repair, we are thinking more in line with muscles. So we want proteins. So which of these 2 foods are high in proteins? We obviously thinking chicken and lentil peas. So in this question, the answers are certain. You will only get marks for chicken. You will only get a mark for lentil peas. If you write other foods, you're not getting any mark. If you had written beef and etc., you're not getting any mark. You have to choose these to answer. This question, the part 2, that had a variety. You could have choose any answers, right? The question for part 1, that was a certain thing too, once you use the correct words. All right, so let's continue on. We get a table showing the number of children, country X and country Y. We have 4 diseases. They tell you what the table shows, the number of children who suffers nutritional deficiency. On grid 1, we're not doing graphs in this session. if you all join for the cram session tomorrow, we will do graphs there. And by the way, a graph always comes. I hope everyone has seen that because you were watching other videos that we would have done as well. Graphs always come. So let's go on. From your graph, identify the country which had the highest incidence of both these diseases, Kawashiorkor. Let's see. And all you have to do is add them up, right? 65 and 70, and then you have 55 and 45. And the maths is really simple there. You are putting country X. All right, country X. You will be putting, right? Maybe I should write it. I should write it out. All right, you're putting country X. Easy. From your overall graph, identify the country which had the lower incidence of diseases overall. So it means you would have added up all of these. I mean, we don't have the graph, right? That's why I'm saying. But on the graph, you would have just watch and see which one had the lower bars, the lower level, right? That's why they're telling you, look at the graph. But we don't have the graph, but simple addition makes it country Y. Country Y. So I see Welsh was giving us the answer. Wonderful, Welsh. Wonderful. Right. State the major micronutrient that is lacking in the diets of the children in country X, and the major macronutrient that is lacking in the diets of the children in country Y. So the lacking nutrient means the one that is the highest and lacking. So in country X, we are looking, what is lacking in country X? And it has to be a macro, major micronutrient, right? So the micronutrients we know are vitamins and minerals. So we have to look at the diseases, and you see that night blindness is higher than rickets. Right? So, yes, I'm seeing someone already saying it. Night blindness, what's missing for night blindness? Vitamin A. Right? And the major micronutrient that is missing for country Y, it's the rickets, which is vitamin D. So let's just put that in. So vitamin A, yes, and vitamin D. Vitamin D for country Y, right? Rickets is caused by a lack of vitamin D, and night blindness is caused by a lack of vitamin A. Right, so this was the space where they gave you to do the graph, and to complete our 15 marks, we just missing 1 mark because we haven't done this part of the question. Suggest one disease that could develop as a result of overeating. Overeating have plenty diseases, but you just need one. So pick one. Whether you choose diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, you pick one. All right? You pick one. So they have a variety of answers for this question. You just pick one and you stick with it. I am going with yeah, let me just go with diabetes. Somebody went with obesity, diabetes, all right, nice, hypertension, all of that is correct. Oh, okay, so yeah, as I told you, there are a multitude of diseases. You just pick one. Hypertension. Let me just try putting some others from the chat. I'm seeing person saying obesity. What else you all have in the chat? We give us some cardiovascular diseases. There are quite a bit, right? Not just high blood pressure, but yes, there are heart problems, myocardial infarctions, but those are just effects. You could tell us there's fatty liver disease, etc. Right? So a multitude of answers. I always suggest to students pick the most obvious answer. Don't think too hard, just pick the answer and move on. And that's our first 15 marks. Question 2, all living organisms share common characteristics. That's true. Table 2, by inserting the characteristic of life that corresponds with each definition. So we just have to put in the name, and I think most persons learn it in Grimna by now. That's really popular in the Caribbean. That's really popular in the Caribbean. Grimna, growth, irritability, etc. That is really popular. It does make other words as well. Many persons don't know that. It does make other words. All right, but let's get to it. The ability of an organism to detect and respond to a stimuli. That's like if a car is coming towards you, how do you know a car is coming towards you? You could see it. You could hear it. Maybe you might feel the vibrations on the ground, right? So that is how you interact with the environment. That is irritability, right? So we just need to insert the word irritability and you will get the mark. The removal of waste products produced by metabolism from the body. That is excretion. Yeah, excretion. The release of energy from food substances to do work in the body. The release of energy from food, respiration. I hope persons are thinking respiration. Yeah. Respiration comes up very easily. And the final one, the release, the removal of undigested waste products from the body. All right? They just want the specific thing, right? It's undigested waste products from the body. You know that as egestion. You know that as egestion. And here is the trick that CXC likes. And I always tell students, don't fall for it. CXC really likes to put these two words together. Excretion and egestion. They do it in multiple choice all the time. They also do it in paper 2 all the time because they know these students like to mix up these two words. Yeah, this sound very similar, and the difference in the definition is really just one word. If they use the summative definition, excretion, the removal of metabolic waste from the body, egestion, the removal of non-metabolic waste from the body. So just that prefix, non-metabolic waste, makes the whole difference, and students often mix that up. That's the XC trick. That's the big trick, you know. They rare like that trick. It's so known that they put it in the syllabus and everything as well. Let's continue on. Figure 2 shows the 4 main types of tissue in the body labeled A to D. A to D. And just watching it, you could kind of figure it out, right? It's kind of simple. So what are we saying is what? Does anyone know these things? Using the letter labels only, identify the type of tissue that is responsible for movement, so is movement, and the type of tissue that is responsible for the protection of the body surfaces. So movement, which one of these will be movement? We want the skeletal muscles, and the one we know muscle is made of fibers. We see it here in C. So we were going to put, they say the letters only. So you don't need to actually identify what it is, right? I identified it for you, but you would have in the exam, if you were writing this exam last year, you would have just write a capital C and move on. For protection, you would have just written a capital A and move on. You don't need to tell them that is epithelial cells, etc., right? And the kind of tissue and things. Just write the letter and move on. Take your 2 marks. All right, take your 2 marks and go. All right, let's continue on. Seema is a footballer who notices that she tires easily, even after very short practice sessions. She researches possible causes of her fatigue and discovers some interesting facts about certain cell organelles. Identify the cell organelle in Seema's body which may not be working adequately and therefore causing her fatigue. Which cell is responsible for the I should say, releasing energy so that she could continue practicing the football, because she's get tired in the practice sessions, right? She gets tired. I'm seeing persons already identifying that it's the mitochondria that she is talking about, because it's the organelle responsible for respiration. State the process in which occurs in the cell organelle. Well, I already gave it. Identifies which would prevent Seema's fatigue. It's respiration. And if you want to show off, you could say aerobic respiration. All right. So it's respiration. Respiration is the thing. But for those who really know it, it's aerobic respiration. All right. Write in words an equation that describes the process stated in C2. So all the more reason why we put in the word aerobic, right? So they asked us, because if we had just used a respiration, maybe they could have asked us, then we could have possibly hinted at anaerobic, but no. We will put in the equation in words, and we know that is glucose and oxygen to create carbon dioxide and water, along with ATP. You can write the abbreviation ATP, or you can write it out, adenosine triphosphate. You will get both correct. ATP is correct. Adenosine triphosphate is correct. Both of them are correct. All right? So don't be afraid. This abbreviation is accepted. Seema decides to visit the doctor to be tested to determine the cause of her fatigue. The doctor indicates that her fatigue is not caused by a malfunctioning cell organelle, but is a result of a mineral deficiency in her diet. Suggests the disease that Seema is likely suffering from, and state what is occurring in her body as a result of the disease. So what does she have? What does she have that she is suffering from this disease? What is she missing? It's something red. It's biconcave. She has plenty of them. They last about 90 days, 60 to 90 days. And she has plenty of them, but she needs a specific mineral to produce them. She gets it from dark green leafy vegetables, right? And I'm seeing the answers in the chat. She has anemia, and this is deficiency anemia because she is lacking iron. All right? She is lacking iron, which is needed to make hemoglobin. All right? So she has anemia and a lack of iron. Yeah. And they ask you and state what is occurring in her body as a result of the disease, right? So remember to put in that part. Hemoglobin needs iron, so it's not being made, right? Without the iron, hemoglobin wouldn't be made, which means She wouldn't have red blood cells, which means she's not transporting oxygen as she should. She's not giving her muscles, the tissues, the organs enough oxygen, which means she gets tired quickly in her practice sessions. The human body consists of several organs and organ systems. Identify one organ in the body which belongs to two different organ systems and state the names of the two organ systems. And I always tell students, go with the easy stuff. Right? Go with the easy stuff. Just let me, before I give my response, let me see what the chat is saying. Which organs there is more than one answer. Let me start off by saying that there is more than one answer, but which one are you going to choose? Are you going to choose, and what systems are you going to choose? So I'm seeing persons in the chat saying the lungs, all right, but which system are you going to choose? Which systems? You have to choose, I'm seeing it, right, elegant, vloggers, lungs, respiratory, and circulatory, right? I'm seeing somebody's choosing skin. Are you going to choose skin for excretory and immune? But you only choose Shiloh, you only put one, right? If someone is choosing nervous system and reproductive system. So that means you are going along the lines of hormones. You need to state which organ you are picking. So the organ you pick depends on the systems, right? So when you choose your organ, choose one that corresponds to the multiple systems. So if you were choosing control and coordination, you're choosing hormones or something, you need to choose the liver, the kidneys. You want it to cross multiple systems, right? But the easiest one, which most of you did identify, the lungs and the respiratory and circulatory. I'm seeing someone saying digestive system. Yes, you could have choose the digestive system. What else would you have chosen in the digestive system? If you chose like the liver, you could have used digestive system and another system. All right. So just make sure it matches up. 15 marks. And all these questions are for 15 marks. So the whole paper is out of 90 marks. 6 times 15 is 90. So the whole paper is out of 90 marks. Define the term health according to the World Health Organization. And we know these definitions must have the 3 factors: physical, mental, and social well-being. All right? Those 3 things will get you the mark. If you don't have those 3 things, you wouldn't get the mark. Once you have those 3 things, you will get the mark. Right? Physical, mental, and social well-being. Right? Identify by, and the mere fact they mention World Health Organization means they want a specific definition, right? The specific definition. There are other organizations that have other definitions, but the World Health one is exactly this. Identify by circling 2 diseases in the list, which are classified as non-communicable diseases. 2 diseases which are non-communicable. Non-communicable diseases are those that cannot be transmitted. All right? You can't pass it on to your friend. You can't pass it on to your mother, your father, your auntie, your nene. You can't pass it on, right? You alone have it. All right, so let me pull up this little thing to do. Circling, what are we thinking? Are we thinking cervical cancer? Yes. Yes. And are we thinking hypertension? Yes. Yes. All right. So those are the 2 answers. There are only 2 answers. There are concerns about the increase in global incidence of the viral disease monkeypox. Do you all remember monkeypox? It came up after COVID-19. Typically, infected persons will experience the following signs and symptoms: fever, headaches, muscle aches, chills, rash. From the list above, identify one sign and one symptom experienced by a person who is suffering from monkeypox. And all they ask you is one for each. They give you 5 here, which means there's obviously more than one for them. All they ask you is for one. Pick any that you identify. Signs must be able to be experienced or observed, investigated by another. Symptoms, only you could have it. Only you could experience it, right? So anything with pain is a symptom. So the headaches and the muscle aches, those are symptoms. The other things could be investigated by others. Rash, you could literally see a rash on the person's hand. Chills, you could see someone. Let me change this. All right. So we have headaches, muscle aches. We put in those as symptoms. And we put in muscle aches as well. And we put in fever. We want to put fever. We want to put rash. And I did see most of you all have it correct. I see somebody put fever and rash. Oh, right. That's correct. I know the hardest one for students to think is chills. I will just let you know that chills fall under symptoms. Yeah? Chills fall under symptoms. You have it. All right? You're the one feeling cold. Other persons can't know that you're cold unless you tell them. Yes, you might see the erectus muscle to tighten the skin. They might have what we call goose bumps or goose pimples. You might see the hairs on their hands stand upright. But those are different things from chills, right? Those are things you are seeing. Chills is what the person is experiencing. All right, so we did them out all. You just needed one to get your 2 marks, one for each to get your 2 marks. Explain 2 ways in which the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted societies and economies in the Caribbean. All right, and they give you plenty space to write. Nice. Explain 2 ways, right? So you could explain it at societies, you could explain it at economies. Do you all remember in COVID-19 pandemic how many places closed? And I'm not talking about institutions, I mean countries. Countries were on lockdown. So think about a country that is, or islands that are dependent on tourism. What happened to tourism? Tourism take a dive. Tobago, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, all of them heavily dependent on tourism, and airports closed. So that was bad for societies and economies. So you could pick a direction and write. What about job loss? Yeah. What about job losses? Plenty people were not making money, so they didn't need to hire people. Right? I obviously am not going to write out the paragraphs, right? I'm just mentioning the point. Do you all remember how many people were getting sick and hospitals were overrun? That means nurses, doctors, nurse assistants, any person in medical practice were doing overtime, right? They used to have this thing on social media where people were clapping nurses and call them essential workers. So yes, the death rate went up. Right? Somebody mentioned the death rate, right? So yes, plenty persons died. Yeah. Was everyone in school? Schools closed. Schools closed. I remember the exact date at which school closed, the 13th of March, where I am, right? Schools, all of them closed up. All of them closed up. All right, so yeah, you could just pick a whole host of things. Right? I remember even the CSEC exams, they had no paper two that year. Do you all know that? In 2020, there was no paper two for June. Oh no, yes, there still was because the HSB, the SBA didn't come online yet. So there still was. But other subjects didn't have any paper two. So it was just multiple choice. All right. HIV is transmitted primarily through sexual contact or bodily fluids. Explain two ways in which individuals may reduce their risk for contracting HIV. So if HIV is through sexual contact, you want to say things that are the opposite of that. So the first thing is abstinence. Refuse from sexual encounter, sexual intercourse. Just refuse. And obviously, you will explain what abstinence is. Abstinence is not engaging in sexual intercourse, sexual activity. All right. I know persons are also thinking of using condoms. All right. Using condoms, and it's not any contraceptive, it's condoms. Condoms reduce the risk of transmitting STDs. All right. All right. You could do other things, right? So infected mothers should not breastfeed. Right? Infected mothers should not breastfeed. You will go on to explain that, right? So yes, you see in the comments, someone is saying, test your partner. So know your status, not just your partner own. If everyone knows their status, then you're good, right? That's what that person is trying to say. Monogamy meaning be faithful. I know everyone is saying monogamy, be faithful. Right? Be faithful to one person at a time, etc. All right, but they just ask you to explain two ways, and they give you room to write. So you have freedom to write and explain these things, and you will get your 4 marks, 2 marks for each one you explain. State why antibiotics cannot be used to treat HIV infections. And it's antibiotics. Biotics are used to treat bacteria, and HIV is not bacteria, right? HIV, the V stands for virus. So obviously, antibiotics cannot be used. All right, antibiotics can be used, and that will give us another 15 marks. So if we keep collecting those 15 marks right now, that's question 3, we are up to 45 marks. Yeah. And as we're going into question 4, please remember, hit that subscribe button. Yeah. Right, click the subscribe button, click the like button, and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified. We will be back again tomorrow at about the same time, 9ish, in the 9 o'clock hour, to do more practice. But if you are looking for a little bit more than these sessions, do remember to use the link in the description and join into our crash course, which is just for YouTube subscribers. So join in for that. That will run for about 4 hours tomorrow. And we will do it on Zoom so persons could actually talk and get their questions answered, ask your questions, and I'll also be teaching graphs. Graphs are very important for HSB. You will get something related to graphs. So let's continue as we continue to prepare and work towards the one. This figure is number 3, which shows a diagram of a cross-section of the human heart, and they label out 3 parts, A, B, and C. And then they ask you to identify the structures of the heart labeled A and the region of the heart labeled B. So A, if we are looking at it and we see the 3 sub-breakdowns coming up here, what are we thinking that is? And I hope everyone is thinking the aorta. That will be correct. And the region B is one of the compartments. We know it's 4 compartments on the heart, and the heart splits into 2 sides. So the left side will always be on your right hand, because remember, you are the person that's drawn, so you will be facing yourself. So we know it's on the left side, and we are going with the atrium. We are going with the atrium. What time someone is asking? 12 o'clock. I know some persons have other exams, but remember, there's nothing we could do about timing. There is a lot going on. We still have other candidates, and there are other exams. We are preparing for, well, me personally, I have biology, integrated science, HSB, and I do a whole lot of stuff for other sciences, especially for the practicals, the paper trees. Bio paper tree went already, but there are paper trees and other subjects to come. So all of that prepared. So, but this is where we were able to put the time at 12 noon AST. I know there are exams going on at the same time, but if you could make it, do make it, do join in, do use the link in the description to sign up for the crash course. Describe the function of the structure of the heart labeled C. And C, we see the pointing to the valves. All right. And these valves are the pulmonary valves. And if you watch it carefully, remember this is the right side of the heart, right? So we know the pulmonary circuit comes into play when blood is pushed out of that side. All right. So it's the pulmonary valves. They prevent backflow. That's what valves do, prevent backflow of blood. So you have to state that. You have to state that. They're not so much concerned about the name. They want to know what the valves do. If you do not say prevent backflow of blood, then you don't know what valves do. All right. But we will state the name because, well, I know it. State the region of the heart in which the pacemaker is located. The right atrium. The right atrium. All right. It only have one answer. It only have one answer for that question, right? It only have one answer for that question. Have nothing we could do there. Or you could show off sinoatrial nodes, yeah. State the function of the pacemaker. The function of the pacemaker is to regulate, right? Or control, if you want to use synonyms. But it does cause it to go up, and it does cause it to come down. So I do encourage students to use the word regulate or control. Don't just say increase or decrease. Choose control or choose regulate. I would prefer that. All right? I would prefer that. All right? Choose control, choose regulate. I know plenty persons are taught that it increases the heart rate, but remember, it could decrease the heart rate as well. So I encourage students to choose regulate or choose control, because control, those words allow for both directions, increasing and decreasing. Certain countries within the Caribbean have very high incidences of coronary heart disease. Discuss how one named factor contributes to the development of coronary heart disease. So you need to pick your one named factor. What are you picking? What are you picking? And they say certain countries. So different countries have different things. So this leaves the answer open very widely, and they give space for everybody to write for their 4 marks. All right? So depending on what you pick, the answer will be correspond to the explanation. So what does someone pick? What does someone pick? Tell us, tell us, tell us. Does person pick fast food? Do persons pick plenty alcohol? Do you pick lack of exercise? What do persons pick as their factor? And once you pick your factor, you describe it. You discuss it and say how it leading to coronary heart disease. So if persons pick fast food, I'm saying fast food or unhealthy eating, what else I'm seeing? Bad eating habits. Say, how does that lead to persons getting fat, persons developing coronary heart disease, which could lead to death? If you pick excessive alcohol drinking, tell us, how does that lead to coronary heart disease? Remember, alcohols tend to be very sweet, plenty sugars, etc. Tell us about if you pick lack of exercise, inactivity. How does lack of exercise cause persons to get fat and, lead to coronary heart disease, getting a heart attack, and dying? All right? But I wouldn't go through that because we want to continue on with the question, right? But there are many factors you could pick, all right? Explain why the walls of the ventricles of the heart may become thicker as a result of coronary heart disease. Remember, these walls are muscles. So if your muscles have to do more work and they get bigger, all right? So they become thicker if they have to do more work, if they have to work more. So that's 2 marks. That's an easy 2 marks for us, right? Suggest 3 approaches that could be used by governments to reduce the incidence of coronary heart disease. The first thing they need to do is educate everybody. As much people as they can. Educate, educate, educate. That's the first thing. Anytime they ask you what the government should do, they should educate the persons. They should educate. They should educate, educate, educate. All right, so let's put educate the people. What else can they do? They should offer positive returns. And what do I mean by positive returns? Things like tax exemption, tax breaks for things that are healthy. So instead of it being oily food, if you're not in the oily food industry where you're frying in oil all the time, what if it's healthy foods? Those healthy foods could get tax breaks. Yeah? So you could offer basically incentives for health. All right? You could develop your preventative medicine. And what we mean by preventative medicine, this is things or practices designed to prevent persons from getting sick. It doesn't have to be reactive medicine. Reactive medicine is maybe you go take drugs after you get sick. You need to go to the pharmacy, you need to go to the drugstore. So preventative medicine. Let me put it as preventative. All right. Preventative medicine is really beneficial, right? It's really beneficial. It really helps. It encourages persons to exercise, it encourages persons to take care of their health, encourages persons to get counseling, to talk to persons, not just for physical health. Remember, mental health is something. But in this specific question, they are asking about coronary heart disease. So, another 15 marks gone. We are going into section B, which has the last two questions for this paper. State two sources of water pollution. Two sources of water pollution. And you could pick your sources. You could pick your sources from anywhere. You could pick your sources of anywhere, depending on how you're looking at it. If maybe when you think of water pollution, you think in the beach, you're thinking the ocean, pick your sources. So where oil tankers passing and spilling oil, where persons throwing bottles and plastic bags and what in the ocean, you could pick your sources. And I always recommend to students, just go with the easy ones, go with the obvious ones. All right. Figure 4. I see someone say garbage dumping. Fertilizer runoff is correct. Fertilizer runoff is correct. Figure 4, aquatic ecosystem. We have phytoplankton, we have algal bloom, we have plant decay, we have aquatic plants, some living, some dying. We have a couple dead fish here and others dying. Identify the process, and this process have algal bloom, so you automatically being triggered. Once you see that algal bloom, you are automatically thinking of eutrophication. Explain how the process identified in B1 results in the death of fish in figure 4. So what happens is this algal bloom, algae is going to grow and grow and grow, and algae is living. It uses up the oxygen in the water, and it will multiply and it will eventually cover the whole surface, right? But it uses up the oxygen in the water. So for one, fish who also need oxygen can't get oxygen. Because it will also grow and cover the surface of the water, it means it will block sunlight. And the plants that need the sunlight to photosynthesize and continue growing, remember, plants produce their own food through photosynthesis. Lack of sunlight means they're not producing their own food. So even the plants dying as well. But the question asks you the death of fish, and we already explained it. Without oxygen, the fish will die. I am seeing Shiloh explaining to Sasha how eutrophication happens. That is correct, but the cause doesn't only have to be fertilizers. The cause, if someone is emptying laundry detergent, like a runoff from a washing machine into a riverway, that could also cause algal bloom, because algal bloom is from the nutrients, the phosphates, the nitrates, right? Remember, those things are not found, are found in other things besides fertilizers. So yes, his Shiloh's explanation is correct, but I would just add to it and say it is not only fertilizer. But very good, Shiloh. If you wrote that in the exam, you would have gotten all your marks. And I hope Sasha understands. All right, so table 3, the percentage of air pollutants in the air for a city and a rural region. We have carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, solid particles like dust, etc. We have the city, the rural region. We have carbon monoxide very heavy in the city, as expected. Sulfur dioxide, city high, solid particles, city higher than, everything is higher than the rural region. Remember, rural is not developed, right? Rural, it's different from urban as well, right? So the rural is not developed. Outline 2 reasons why the percentage of carbon monoxide is so much higher in a city than a rural region. And the first thing everybody should be thinking about, if you're a city, it have a lot of machinery in the form of cars, factories. This comes along with urbanization. All right, so more cars and factories, which mean carbon monoxide, carbon monoxide, which is a product of these things burning fuel. All right, so the burning of fossil fuel to generate the motion of these vehicles. Not to mention, if it is a city, it needs to have some kind of electricity generation. All right, it needs to also have electricity generation. Electricity is, you have to burn fossil fuel to generate electricity, whether it is diesel turbines or natural gas turbines, they still produce carbon monoxide. And it is a city, so it needs to have electricity. All right, so we get all our marks there. We have 2 reasons, right? The cars and the factories, and then we have the electricity generation. Let me see what the comments are saying. Yes. Sure. The crash course is 12 p.m. AST time. All right, 12 p.m. AST time for the crash course. Just use the link in the let me put the link here for you. All right, put the link there for you for sign up for the crash course. Just when you go through, select that option. Explain why the percentage of carbon monoxide is so much higher than the percentage of the other pollutants in the rural region. So carbon monoxide 25, and well, the others is what, 4 and 1. That is way higher. That's really high, and it's percentage. So 25%, we have 4%, and then 1% here. So what's the reason? What's the reason? What do you all think? It's because they are burning stuff as a way of life. Whether it's slash and burn agriculture, or they are burning their waste because they don't have proper facilities for waste disposal. So every other day, it have a fire in somebody's yard to burn stuff. All right, so burn stuff. So burning their waste, burning to get rid of material. Remember, it doesn't have recycling and everything in a rural area. The area is not developed, so it don't have services, right? So burning stuff is a way of life. So you set fires, and that leads to the carbon monoxide. Hi. Good night. Someone is saying good night. Good night. Thanks for joining us, Anointed. Somebody is asking about the MCQs. Yes, Rihanna, we do MCQs as well, but the MCQ exam, the paper 1, is a little further. It's a little further down in the calendar of exams, so we will pick up with MCQs a little later. Yeah, so right now we are focusing on the paper 2, and then we'll focus on the paper 1 and the paper 3 for those of you who are doing paper 3. And I think paper 1 and paper 3 is on the same day. So yes, do look out for that. Recommend 3 ways in which the high levels of pollution in the city can be reduced. So you just pick your 3 ways. You pick your 3 ways, whether you're saying fines and laws and penalties, and just pick your 3 ways. These 3 ways are always common for any kind of pollution. Yeah, they're always common for any kind of pollution. Do you do office administration? I, as a principal, don't do office administration, but we do have office administration videos up, especially for the paper 1. And as you all continue to support, we will put up more and more videos. Yeah. So another 15 marks. That was a wonderful question. That was actually a great question. All right, so we on 75 marks just to get these last. Yes, recycling, reuse. Yes, that is one, right? That is one way to help curb pollution. So if you wrote that in this exam, you would have gotten the marks. So final question for this paper 6. Name one excretory product in each of the following organs. We have the lung as the first one. What's the lung? I hope everyone is thinking stale air. Stale air. Or carbon dioxide, right? If you wrote carbon dioxide, if you didn't write, if you don't know what the exhaust air is, the air that you blow out, it's stale air. We have the skin. What are we thinking for the skin? You are thinking about sweat. Yes, yes, yes. And for the kidneys, what are we thinking for the kidneys? Urea in urine. All right, urea in urine. State which blood vessel carries blood to the kidneys. There is only one answer for this question. Renal arteries. So that's an easy way to get 4 marks, right? Plus questions like these save us some time. Because the answer is so short and it comes to us so quickly, we save time. Yeah, because this paper is 2 hours long. You have 20 minutes to answer every question. So it's just over, right? So it takes 20 minutes to get 15 marks, right? So let's keep going. Identify the structures of the kidney in which ultrafiltration and reabsorption take place. Ultrafiltration, we know that is at the start of the nephron, and we put in Bowman's capsule in the nephron. We want to talk about reabsorption. Where does reabsorption take place? I hope persons are thinking convoluted tubules. Convoluted tubules, the first and the second. There is more in the first, right? There is more in the first. There is a lot less in the second, right? So I always support going with the easiest answer. So I put first convoluted tubule. Or you could have put proximal convoluted tubule, depending on which textbook you were using, you will get it right. If you put distal convoluted tubule, you'll still get it right. There is reabsorption in both. It's just that in the first one, there is more. So I went for the easier answer. Manuel and Sonia want to investigate the components of their urine. Each of them collects a urine sample and performs a Burette test and a Benedict test. We know the Burette test is for protein and the Benedict test is for reducing sugars. Table 4 shows Manuel and Sonia's observation. using the data in table 4, state the conclusion that can be drawn about Manuel's and Sonia's urine and suggest the disease for which Manuel and Sonia are at risk. So the burette test, we have no color change, and then we have Benedict test, and it's ending up red. All right, so this red is the brick red, right? That's what they mean. So we are seeing that the burette test, no color change, so there's no protein for Manuel, and the Benedict, it get red. So we see in sugars, right? Reducing sugars. And Sonia, we have the pinkish color. I would have preferred the word violet, but the pinkish means it's slight. It's slight, right? That's what they're saying. The pinkish mean it's slight. So we have a little bit of protein in Sonia urine, and we see the Benedict test turn blue. So we have no sugars in Sonia's urine. So you would say that, right? That's what you would say, and you would suggest the diseases that are associated with it. So Manuel, no protein and reducing sugars present, the red, because they didn't say the brick red, they just say red. So I'm going with plenty. The Sonia, slight protein, a little bit, and no reducing sugars. What is the diseases? Well, Manuel, we know Manuel has sugar in his urine, so that is he really have that diabetes, boy. And Sonia has some kind of infection or kidney problems. She may be in, for all we know, Sonia might be heading towards full kidney failure and might need a kidney transplant and all kind of thing. Eh? But I mean, all that's just speculation. We want to stick to the facts. Right, so 6 marks. I hope persons see how I get the 6 mark. 1 mark for Manuel burette test, 1 mark for Manuel Benedict test, 1 mark for Sonia burette test, 1 mark for Sonia's Benedict test. That's 4 marks there. And then stating the disease for each of them is 2 more marks, 1 for each person. So 6 marks. Santo is badly injured at work and quickly experiences severe blood loss. He arrives at the emergency room with low blood pressure. Explain how Santo's body will respond in order to increase his blood pressure. And I hope persons are going to talk about what clotting is, because we said he was injured, right? So his body will experience clotting, and he was badly injured. So the emergency room will help with the clotting process. They might do stitches. That helps with the clotting process, right? So I'm just calling that whole thing clotting, right? We call it blood clotting. So I hope persons know what blood clotting is, right? And then what will his heart do? What will his body do? His heart will pick up, his blood vessels will constrict. And there's a whole lot more we could say. We could even talk about his spleen, because think of your spleen as an extra blood bath, as a blood bath, right? His spleen will be in play. He will have his blood vessels will constrict, like what? Even his urine output would decrease. So there's a whole lot to be said here, right? But they just want the parts that are specific to getting you your 3 marks. So make sure you mention blood clotting. You could explain it out a little bit, say that the stitches seal the wound, so blood loss will be stopped, right? Because he's injured. For him to be losing blood, some blood vessel must be injured. They said it was severe. So it means the emergency room has to take artificial medical care, which means his body needs assistance. So stitches for some blood vessels, something have to come into play. And then they ask, what will his body do? His heart will pick up once the bleeding stops. His blood vessels will constrict. He will get some medication, etc. Focus on these 3 marks. And that's our 15 marks. That's our 15 marks, yeah? And if we get 15 marks in all 6 questions, then we are 90 marks. And we on that 1. And that's what we're aiming for. Ones. Yeah? So I'm so glad I was able to do this with you, to walk you through this exam. And this exam has been going on since June 2022. It is the latest syllabus for human and social biology. So we've only had this exam, about six times since 2022 June. So this is about the 7th time for this exam, and we are preparing for it. We want to get the 1. All right. So thank you for joining me. I am your favorite principal, Mr. Roach. Thanks for participating. Thanks for your comments. I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel. And for those of you who may have joined us after it, you can use the link pinned in the comments or the link in the description to join up for the crash course tomorrow. We are flying a crash course just for our YouTube subscribers. So if you are one of those, join up for the crash course tomorrow. It starts at 12 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, EST time. So join up. Otherwise, I'm wishing you all a wonderful evening. Do be on time for any exams for those who have for tomorrow, but do enjoy the rest of your night. Bye-bye. It's all for the 1.